Well, there's the old train box. Makes a change from me opening new purchases. Here's some very old ones, or a few years ago anyway. So I'm now going through as I'm going to see what I'm keeping and what I'm not. I don't know whether this is a power car or a dummy. Feels like it might be a dummy. I did buy another one for a power car, so this is a bit of a rare find. And for a Tetchy, presume it's Kiwi to go with the Loco. I've never yet come across any for sale or anything similar looking that can, make a small rake up, but you never know. So we have the Kiwi offerings. I'm going to keep those. And there's another one down here. This one does need a little bit of TLC. I think someone's left it in a window and the body's warped with the sun. But as you can see, no one's ever fitted the handrail to it, so I want to see if I can save it. Here's the Lima. I think that's the Lima one. Yep. So that's one power car. And that's another. Oh yeah, that's definitely one. That's my London Northeastern V3, which I think is a split chassis. I can pull one of the wheels out, so I don't know whether the gear's cracked. It still runs okay, but it sort of clicks back in as if it's on a magnet. So I might see if I can salvage that, or at least repair it and sell it, and then get the newer DCC equivalent at some stage. But that's in the keep for now anyway. This is a little J83, I think. Yeah, so that's I bought that one because I had the old Hornby one and he only had the one running number, and I bought this one a few years ago because it actually had the other running number. And of course now we've moved on to newer and more expensive things, so that will be going in the get rid of pile. I think this one's in bits. So something's got to be done with that. I think I pinched the motor out of that one to use for something else. So we've got the old Lima 08, which is actually an 09. That ran okay when I last tested it, but again, no longer required now. Running out of space. So that can go in the bugger off pile. I have a tender drive Scotsman which I bought and then got home, and it fell apart because someone had took all the screws out of it. I have got a set of screws I bought from another Hornby to try and get it back together again. Hopefully that's the only issue with it. So that may get saved and converted. This is the old Hornby one I was toying with the idea of keeping and converting to DCC. I might still just convert it to DCC for the shits and giggles, and then keep it all for occasional use, which would be very occasional. But it'll probably end up getting sold as a DC conversion. I'm thinking, we might just abandon the project since we've got a railroad Lima Hornby thing. 47. That worked okay when I tested it, despite what's written on the box. But again, my modernisation program means time to go. And there's another 37 here to go. And another 37 here to go. I don't know whether someone denumbered that. Doesn't look marked. Or whether they just, that's a an error on Hornby's part. It's the same both sides, unless someone was going to renumber it. They ran okay. They were a little bit showing their age, like we all are. And an old Lima 45, which became the Bachmann 45. Which again, this runs as quite a tidy little example. This again, this was when I was toying with DCCing, but these are sort of peaking at about £35. So the time I buy a chip and a board and drill it out and put lights in, if I went that far, I could probably buy a Bachmann for not a lot more. So I'm a little bit undecided on that one. They weren't, well, they did use them in their latter years in this area. In fact, most of them ended up in March, awaiting the scrap man for several years, or hundreds of them. Well, it looked hundreds. The entire old marshalling yard, goods yard, was full of these, and old rotten Mark 1s and knackered 08s and 20s. It was sort of like the diesel equivalent of Barry at one time, and now it's a Network Rail reclamation centre where they process the old ballast and stuff, and a category A prison. So that's it for that one. So this one's got a bunch of decoders in it, along with a few other bits. That was a new purchase. Stick my fingers over the camera lens. We've got some American bodies here. Don't know what that one's from. They all came as a job lot. I only bought one thing that I wanted, and this lot come with it. I'm guessing that's a respray, judging by the orange peel effect on it. I don't know whether that's an Atlas or an Athern. But I got no chassis for it, so. And that's an even rarer find over here than it is in the US. But there's a couple more. So that one, I don't know whether that was one of my sons. That's corridor coach connectors. Ooh, the Holy Grail. An 08 TTS chip. That's probably worth twice what it's actually worth. I've got a couple more of them floating about somewhere. This, I think, is either empty or it's got a scale model sceneries thing in it that was an absolute pain in the arse. Yes, that. So not so fruitful in here. That I'm keeping. Hopefully I can convert that. That was the first Loco the wife ever bought me. It was about £29 brand new back in the day. That'll be another chip. And just a few more. Some of these have been used. I kept the boxes. Chips. Class 43. What we got here? My little dock shunter. Just something else I want to turn into a project. Although I'm after a far better body. A nice tidy one. Or a nice tidy little dock shunter that I can put a new chassis in. DCC. Glaze. Put the detail cabin that someone's now 3D printing. But I wanted a better example to start with. Hattons think these are worth £37 now. I don't. So I'm having a job for that money that I'd want to be like new in the box. Well, even better than that. One of the not so good Hornby controllers. So this has definitely got to go because I have it Bachmann replacement. Which is the London Evening Standard Hornby one. That is very tidy. Not done a lot of work. No, hardly any marking on the wheels. That was a Facebook purchase, and I think there was 4 coaches and they wanted 100 quid for them. They eventually got enlightened that an old Hornby one is not worth that kind of money. So that's me Royal Mail coach. Keeping that. The 31 is an ongoing project that I almost got completed. I repaired the chassis that had been dropped. Did lose the front end of the coupling on the bogie, but then I discovered after I fixed it all, one of the brushes is missing. I think it fell out on impact or what. That was another one from the same shady character who stiffed me on the Flying Scotsman. This has been superseded by a modern equivalent, so that can go in the chatty buy pile. What's this one? Penn Central. And again, another Loco body that will probably never find a chassis while it's in the UK. And this last one, definitely not, because that's cast, oh, that's me 25, me little rat. And I acquired another set of bogies that I thought were for one of these. So I scurried away and bought a body with everything in it, thinking I could just click the wheel set back in, and then realised that I think the one I've got is a set of 33 and not 25, so it wouldn't fit. Well, it did, but... And the body's BR green, so I don't model BR green, period. So, again, this was when I was toying with converting to DCC, but I happened to pick up that brand new Bachmann sound fitted 25, so probably don't need that one either. Well, he's real interested. So, a few TTS chips. Love them or hate them, they are a cheap way into sound. So the little mystery envelope was a Stay Alive that I bought a while back. They were slightly cheaper getting them from China. I have had the chips from direct from them, but they're cheaper to buy in the UK from the BWL. Talking of which, we have couple of remaining adapters, 21 to 8 pin, which Mark could have done with on live stream the other night. These I think I picked up from Hatton's, possibly. 1 amp decoder. I think that's just an 8 pin. Yeah, just a stock 8 pin, and we've got a few Lay's ones. I'll have to work out, because I've got, obviously, these are all earmarked for Locos. I do need probably about another 5. So now I've got these all out of the box, I'll go through and do myself an inventory, because most of these were purchased with Locos in mind. That one's got a chip in it, so we've got 37. There's a couple of second-hand ones here. I did have a black 5 off the guy at the same time, and it never worked. Sent him that one back. So that's 4, 5. One of them's empty though. There should be 2 J36s, I think. The Class 60 for me. 60 I bought a couple of 3 years ago. J36. Now I've got some Soundtracks economy ones, or economy. There's a steam 8-pin, a diesel 8-pin, and a diesel 21-pin, because I think they do 5 different locos. I bought this hi-fi sound one when they were on offer for another class 37. I think in hindsight I should have probably bought a 47. An 08. I've yet to find another BR Blue 08, but there's not a bad sound out of this one, as long as you change the speaker. But the last time I saw one of these on eBay, it went for 95 quid. Bearing in mind you can buy them, although I don't think 08's on them, but you can buy an ESU chip for 110. Well, back when it was a couple of 3 years ago, it made £95, and I think you could have bought a sound programmed one for 110. Class 40, that was a story to that one, because I had a Class 40 from Hornby and it didn't bloody work, and Hattons didn't want to exchange it because they didn't have a new Class 40. So I said, well, just have the thing back, you sell these, take one out, put it in my Loco, send this back to Hornby as faulty. Oh no, it's too easy, wasn't it? No, didn't want to know. That's the other J36 9F. That's a Crosty boilered one. I did buy that to put in another Loco, not realising the Crosty was a rather unique sounding creation, so I never used it. I've somehow ended up with 2 A1 Tornadoes. Again, I bought that for the A1 Tornado set I've got, and then I've decided not to probably keep that. And then this one, which I was going to put in not a Britannia class Loco, but another similar Hornby Loco. Well, not similar, I can't remember what it is. I think it's I think it's based on the LMS. It was a war jobby, which they don't do a chip for. So it was basically having something to create sound for it. So that's all my current stock of chips that I'm now going to have to sort out. Well, this is one of those spares or repairs round to it boxes. You know, I know Tim has 3D printed the top. I don't know whether I've got the top or whether it's disappeared or never came when you buy the old box of job lot junkers. I've got a good chassis, but the ladder and dome is missing. This poor little thing is a nice Wren chassis. I'm guessing someone left their soldering iron on and ruined that one. This is my son's old one. The upgrade from the Thomas the Train set, as you can see, well looked after. But the chassis is okay. Body, not so good. But we do have one of the Thomas ones with a not so good chassis. So the idea is obviously somewhere I've got the other one, I think. I've only held on to them in the invention that I ever had a grandson, and I now do, assuming that he will one day be interested in model railway. This is another one that came in a junker box. Again, it's a generic Hornby chassis, so it might be useful transplanting on something else. This is a French jobby, I think. Obviously someone of this is a converter wagon. The operating trapdoor needs a bit of lube, that one, I think. We have a few of those. This is the grain version with the working trapdoors at the top, or hatches. The old Triangle Continental, again, play value for junior, maybe one day. And another one there which turned up in a pile, and underneath I think is a load of these earlier Triangle ones, which obviously don't run on code 100 rail without making an awful lot of noise. So basically that's it in there. We've got some more operating ones, a couple of more Ren brake vans, and just some old ones. I might shave the wheels down on them because they're all the old style. Most of them are, I think. Some of the later chassis we can put better wheels in, but there's a mix there. As you can see, some of the bodies come off because they were all bodged together. I think someone had them as turned them all into one rake, and a few of those. But again, they've got the old style solid axle, so it's either do the old John Champs conversion or think of something else. And this looks like a box that Shaky would probably end up with. There's a bit of a mix of anything and everything in here. Ren, I think the old Triangs, a Smoky Joe in there. I think that might be my son's one. And a couple of Hornby 43s. Got to dig them out because they're going in the sell pile. So there remains most of the remaining collection. So we've got old and new. We've got the Ren, which is the same one I think Alan at Buckland Junction's got, and Dan's Model Railways restored his old one not long back. I think he converted it to DCC by putting the little sleeve in the terminal of the carbon brush, which I was tempted to do with this one. It has no sentimental value to me. It was just the fact that it was a Ren. But this one I did get running, but the magnet is very tired. I think that's the only thing that lets it down, really. This one I ended up making out of spares from the bottom drawers of the old toy and train fairs, when you could go around and buy bits rather cheaply. And I ended up with a body and a chassis with no motor, and then picked another old, I think, shunter or something, or one of these with the XO motor. So I think this one should work, unless, yeah, I've got the pickups there, so that might be a track tester just to make sure it's all fitted with everything that should be. This was another one, same sort of thing I was going to do. Oh, it's got the very old chassis. So yeah, we've got a good body. I think it needs a triangle buffers on the back, but that's okay. It's been repainted and turned into a BR, but other than that, that's in reasonable nick. Just needs a more modern chassis on it. I don't know, this one's a bit knackered. I think this is one of the cheapies my son had and eventually destroyed. How many times he dropped that, cracked the screw hole, and so I don't know whether they share the same chassis block, don't they? But unfortunately they're both the old style chassis. So yeah, they might go in the sell them as is or break them up. Quite a lump in that one. And we have this one as well. Again, they're fairly robust, aren't they? These old things, they were built for toys for kids to play with. So got the broken steps on it as usual, but again, it might me and the super glue there. That was another one of my lads that we got probably for about £6 from the toy and train fair back in the day. So they might come in for the grandson. Won't really matter if he destroys them. This one I think came in a job lot of stuff I bought. Parts are missing off it, like the bar to connect the two together. The weight's missing out the tender, the front coupling arrangement's missing. Probably various other bits. I think the motor's in there, but I know it didn't work when I tried it, so I don't know. I did have another one of these with the earlier version with a brass gear, which I sold to 00 Heaven along with my old J83. So I did offer him that one as a spares donor as well if he wanted it, but he didn't take that one. That's me son's old one, and one of these was as well, I think. And the other ones were picked up again. That come in a box, I think, with the tender, and that was another cheapy one I collected. Minus the tender. That doesn't run very well, that one, I don't think. I got some Lima weights and a little Hornby weight. I don't know what that came out of. It doesn't offer much in the way of weight. Then we've got an 08 wall department, which is a bit of a rarer one. It's also got the counterweight uncoupler. I don't know whether you can just see that in there. You can normally spot them because they have this moulded half cut coupling on them. I don't know what that does. The idea was you reverse back really quick, centrifugal force, lifted the coupling up, and then you could pull away. But obviously your other wagon needed to have no coupling hook, else it didn't work. So obviously it didn't really take off. And this one should have the same arrangement, but someone's took the weight out. But they used to be a nice little runner. I had these two on my layout. You can see it's not had too much hammer. But yeah, that's got the same fitting, but someone's took the weight out inside. I never had it when I got it. You can see it's the early version because they still had the ladders on them. So yeah, I have to go through these and see which well, you know, might put these all bits and pieces in a box up in the loft for when Junior's a bit older and if he's into trains. We've got something for him to play with. And last but not least, these creations are Juef, or play trains. Both the same anyway, they made them. That one's obviously had all the paint scratched off. I think I bought that as a donor. They are free running. So I used to have great fun with those on a sloper track. And I had that many of them. They did change the mountings on them at some point. Some of them have a clip at the front, like these ones, and then others had a band that went over and then screwed in down there, and over time the plastic cracks and doesn't hold the motor down, or the gear slips here. But they were a bit of an oddball. Obviously they're HO as well. They did run, but obviously they're all brass wheels, so you need constant cleaning. And I think that one was just a spares bit. They were that cheap. I have seen them make about 18 quid on eBay, but normally you couldn't give them away. But I think that was the running one that I had originally and got back into going gear. Smells like gun oil's been in one of these locomotives in its history, which certainly isn't suitable for locomotives really. But there's definitely that distinctive gun oil smell coming from this box, which I don't mind. But it's just not supposed to be on Locos. But I don't think it'll matter on these. So yeah, that is it. So yeah, they're not all £200 and £300 locomotives. Some of them are £6, and they give you just as much fun and as many headaches as well. Some of the new ones don't always run quite as good as they should do for the money. So that's it. If any of this takes anyone's interest, some of it may be squirreled away for Junior. Other bits will be going to the Newlyn Railway Fund. So if anyone does have any interest in anything, assuming that by the time this video goes out they've not already been listed on eBay and sold or not, let me know.